you're here for the same reason I'm here. You're here for the same reason I'm here. Our country is going in the wrong direction. Our country is on a path where we're going to wake up one morning and not recognize it. That's why this election is so incredibly important for all of us. And all of us people that have been around for a while, every time there's an election, we hear politicians say, this is the most important election of your lifetime. How many times have we all heard that, right? Yeah. But I want to ask you all that have been around for a while like me. I see Kim Light on my friend. He's been around a long time just like me. Just a few. And I say, think about your lifetime and think about another election where the country seems so fragile, and where the consequences of getting it wrong seem so severe. And where you felt a sense of helplessness that we might not get America back to where we wanted to be. That's what this election feels like. It is, at least for me, the most important election of our lifetime. And that's why it's so important. It's so important that we have the right leadership, because we're in decline. And you can feel it. You can see it economically, our position in the world, militarily, spiritually. When you watch what's happening in those college campuses, you can tell we are in trouble. We are headed in the wrong direction. And that's happened before. That's happened before in our history as a country. It's happened before, and we've come back. We've pulled ourselves back from going over the cliff. And every single time, it's been leadership. Every single time. Leadership makes a difference. Leadership's the special thing. It's the secret sauce that can take a bad situation and make it a good situation. And that's why this moment is so important, and that's why this election is so important. And listen, we're now turning to the general election, and here's the truth. Pennsylvania deserves better than Bob Casey, right? Yes. You deserve better. You deserve better than Bob Casey. Bob Casey's defining achievement in his political life, 30 years in political office, has been to be the son of Bob Casey Sr. That is what has defined his political career. His entire career, I would challenge you to find a single major accomplishment that he has done when he has been representing all of us. He's not been a leader, he's been a follower. He's voted 98% of the time with Joe Biden. And so, this is a moment we need better. We need true leadership. At every fork in the road, when he could have gone left or gone right, at every step of the way when he could have been an independent voice versus compliant with the direction of the progressive part of his party. At every single time where he could have been a leader instead of a follower, he's chosen to be a follower. And so when you look at the state of our economy, the fact that 60% of working families in Pennsylvania, 60% are living paycheck to paycheck. Prices are up 20%. Wages are up 14%. They're getting squeezed. You can thank Bob Casey. He's voted for every single spending bill that's driven up inflation. He's voted against tax breaks for middle-class workers here in Pennsylvania. He's voted for the war on energy, the war on oil and gas, which are those great paying jobs for Pennsylvania. So that economy that we all look at and say, oh my God, Bidenomics is not working, you can thank Bob Casey. When you look at the wide open border, 10 million illegal migrants, right? 160 on the terrorist watch list in the last year. When you look at the fentanyl crisis that comes across that open border, who can you thank? Who? That's right. And you know why? Because he voted for sanctuary cities. He voted against additional funds for our border patrol. He voted against Kate's Law, which would have allowed us to prosecute illegal migrants that are felons. He voted against all the things that would have secured our border. He voted against the wall, right? So when you see that crisis at the border, you can thank Bob Casey. When you look at the crime in our cities, you can thank Bob Casey. That's right, because he voted for sanctuary cities, right? Bob Casey has stood not with the men and women in blue. He thinks the problem is that we have systematic racism throughout our police force. He thinks the problem is we should defund our police. So that law and order that starts in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh's finding its way across our country and across our Commonwealth, you can thank Bob Casey. The war on energy, you can thank Bob Casey. Weakness abroad, Bob Casey voted with Biden and supported Biden's fundamentally flawed and deeply incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. And most important, Bob Casey voted for the Iran deal, which gave $100 billion to Iran. And what's it using it for? To support terrorist proxies across the Middle East. So when you think of appeasement, when you think of America's weakness on the world stage, when you think of the fact that everybody's challenging us, who can you thank?
Bob Casey!
That's exactly right. You deserve, Pennsylvania deserves better than Bob Casey. At every place where he could have been a leader, he's been a follower. At every moment where he could have been independent, he was compliant. At every point where he could have looked to the future, he's looked to the past. And this is a time, my friends, this is a time where we need leaders who will stand up and fight for Pennsylvania and fight for our country. And that's the kind of Senate I'm going to do. So when I'm in the Senate, I will fight for economic policies for working families. I will fight to bring our debt, our staggering debt, under control. I will fight for skill training that will unlock the potential of so many Pennsylvanians. I'll fight to unlock our oil and gas. We have this beautiful, clean, natural gas. We have Saudi Arabia under our ground right here, and we can't get at it and send it to the world, which helps our security, helps our economy, helps our environment. As your senator, I will stand tall with the men and women in blue. If you don't have order, if you don't have law and order in your cities, in your towns, you don't have a country, you don't have a society, right? These are uncompromisable things. And I will stand for our military being the point of the spear. Because I know firsthand what it's like to serve in uniform, and I know that the best way to have peace around the world, the best way to advance U.S. interests, the best way to never have to send a single man or woman into combat is to be so strong, so formidable, that those who will challenge America will step back because we know the risks are too high. And finally, in me, and this is the most important thing, in me you have a senator that believes in the greatness of America, A senator that believes the difference between us continuing to soar or us going into decline is leadership. It depends on what we do. And in me, you have a senator that believes America's best days lie ahead. So it may be the most important election of your lifetime. And so I'll end by saying what I said to some college Republicans. By the way, I'm so happy to see all these young people here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for doing your part. Thank you. You are the key to our future. And I said, I was at State College. I met with a room full of college Republicans. And I said to them what I'm going to say to you. I said, listen, just in the middle of my talk, it just occurred to me, and I just said it. I said, listen, I'm going to be okay either way. No matter what happens in this election, I'm going to be okay. And the reason I'm going to be okay, the reason is I got more years behind me than in front of me, right? A lot of people in this room, we got more years behind us than in front of us. But those kids in that room and you young people here tonight, you got a way more years in front of you than behind you. And so you got to act. You got to believe. You got to fight like this election is so important that your life depends on it. Because it does. It does, right? So we are so grateful for you. We are so honored to be your nominee. I am absolutely convinced that with your help and God's grace, we are going to win this election and change our country. Thank you. God bless you.